In this shipping and handling worksheet, the way that we've dealt with rate per kilo and the discount amount is not the best way to design a worksheet. If the shipping were to change from $2 per kilo to, for example, $2.50, we would need to change every single cell in this column. And if the discount were to change, we'd need to change all these cells too. Let's look at a better design for this worksheet. Here I've put the rate per kilo and the discount for cash in separate cells so that we can refer to these cells in our formulas. Then if the values change, the formulas won't need to be rewritten and just these cells will need to be altered. To write the formula here now, I'm going to press the equal sign and I'm going to multiply the parcel weight here by the rate per kilo here, and I'll press enter. Now we've seen earlier that we can copy these formulas by just dragging down, and I'll do that now. But you can see that in this situation we've encountered a problem. Here the formula is correct. You can see that we're multiplying cell B2 by cell C2. Here we're multiplying cell B7 by cell C3. You can see the beginnings of our problem. Here we're multiplying cell B8 by cell C4, which is empty. And here we're multiplying cell B9 by this cell here, which has got some text in it. The problem is that when we're copying this formula down, Excel is correctly changing the reference to cell B6, but we want the reference to cell C2 to remain the same. We don't want that to change at all. Now we can fix that cell reference by clicking on the cell here, click in the formula bar and press F4 function key. This adds dollar signs before the column letter and the row number, and this fixes the cell reference. I'll press enter to put this formula back in the cell, and now let's go and select this cell and drag on the fill handle to recopy the formula. And this time everything's working as expected. See here that each of these cells contains a reference to a value in column B, but the reference to C2 is remaining constant. Fixing the cell reference like this is called absolute addressing. There are 4 ways that you can address a cell in Excel, and here's a description of them. Up until now we've been using relative references to a cell, the C2 sort of format. When a formula containing a reference to cell C2 is copied, both the column and the row can change. If you refer to a cell in a formula as $C2, then the column is always going to be C, but the row will change. If you refer to the cell C$2 in a formula, then the row is always going to be row 2, but the column will change. And finally, if you refer to the cell $C$2 in a formula, this is an absolute reference, and the column and row are fixed, and your formula will always refer to cell C2, wherever it's copied to. Whenever you place data to use in calculations like I have here in this special data area, you're going to need to use absolute cell references when referring to these cells in your formulas. Now you can either type this dollar signs here manually, or you can click inside a cell reference and press the function key F4. When you do so, you'll cycle round all 4 possibilities: C2, $C$2, C$2, and $C2. You want to wait until you see the one that you want and then press enter to select it.